After so many years in the gym, I'd go as far as to say that I've made every mistake you could think of. That said, I wouldn't trade those mistakes for the world, because those mistakes all turn to important lessons that I want to share with you today. When you learn what these mistakes are and how to avoid them, you'll save yourself from long, tough workouts without the results you deserve, frustrating plateaus that make you want to pull your hair out, and injuries that can have you crippled for months on end. If you're not careful, years could go by without visible results because of just one or two of these mistakes. That's why in this video, I'm going to share the 10 biggest training mistakes that are killing your muscle gains so that you can skip right past the trial and error and get right to the results. Mistake number 1, low frequency training. Study after study has shown that when you compare hitting each muscle 1 time per week versus 2 times per week, the results are significantly better for the higher frequency group. Another more recent meta-analysis concluded that when comparing studies that investigated training muscle groups between 1 to 3 days per week on a volume-equated basis, the current body of evidence indicates that frequencies of training twice a week promote superior hypertrophic outcomes to once a week. If you're wondering why this is true, you can take a look at research studying muscle protein synthesis. You see, when you resistance train, your muscle protein synthesis levels rise, which is why you build muscle. One study published in the Canadian Journal of Applied Physiology showed that muscle protein synthesis drops to almost baseline levels at only 36 hours. In other words, if you don't hit that muscle again in the week, you're going 5 to 6 days without significant growth. That's why I recommend that you choose a training split that allows you to distribute volume for each muscle among at least 2 sessions per week. If you're looking for a done-for-you program that hits each muscle 2 times per week, you can grab a copy of my book, Bulk Up Fast. The book has already been paid for. All you have to do is cover the small shipping fee. Just click the link in the description, tell me where to ship it, and I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. Mistake number 2, always training to failure. One study published in Frontiers of Physiology looked at whether or not training to muscular failure is necessary. They concluded that training to failure is not necessary for maximal increases in strength or hypertrophy when training with loads above 60% of your 1 rep max. That said, another study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that training all the way to failure is actually better for higher rep, lower load training. This can be explained very simply. Your muscles only activate the fibers as they're needed. In a set, they'll start with low threshold motor units and only begin recruiting the larger, higher threshold motor units when required. It's more difficult for high rep sets, think 20 to 30 reps, to activate those big, important muscle fibers until the very end of the set. That said, I recommend you keep 1 to 2 reps in the tank on most of your working sets, with a couple of exceptions. First, when you do sets of 15 reps or above, you have to go to failure to get the best results. Second, you can go to failure for the final set of an exercise, the final set of a workout, or for isolation movements. Keep in mind, however, that going to failure has been shown to add a disproportionate amount of fatigue. Basically, if you go to failure too often, your performance will decline. That means fewer reps and less weight lifted. Mistake number 3, not training heavy. I'm sure you've heard that the muscle building rep range is 8 to 12 reps. This is a sound suggestion since it has the best of both worlds. It's heavy enough to allow you to build strength to help with progressive overload, and it's light enough so that you can actually perform enough quality volume. That said, it's missing one crucial component: lifting heavy weights. When you do sets of 5 or 6 reps, and even as low as 3, you're more likely to build strength. A 2017 study compared lifting weights in different rep ranges. They found that lifting as low as 3 reps per set and as high as 30 reps per set builds muscle equally well, but the heavier rep ranges help the lifters get much stronger. There are just a couple of caveats. First, very high rep sets should be taken to failure to activate all the muscle fibers like we already talked about. On the flip side, when you lift heavy, such as 6 reps and below, you'll likely feel more fatigue and struggle to perform enough quality volume. That's why I recommend including some heavier sets in the 3 to 6 rep range, but only for about 20% of your training. This will ensure that you'll keep getting stronger so that you can lift more weight, perform more volume, and thus place more overall tension on your muscles. Mistake number 4. Chasing the pump. If training with high reps to chase the pump is your main focus in the gym, it will come at the expense of strength progression and overall volume. One study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that there's a dose-response relationship between volume and muscle growth. That means the more volume you perform, the more muscle you'll build, at least up to a point. So focusing on increasing the sets, reps, and especially weight lifted is crucial. Now don't get me wrong, we do have research suggesting the pump itself may contribute to muscle growth, but we also know that it's a secondary mechanism. The most important being mechanical tension, which is increased by getting stronger in key lifts over time. Something that just can't happen if you spend your time chasing the pump. Mistake number 5. Partial reps. While they do have their place for sport-specific purposes, if you're just looking to pack on overall muscle mass, performing partial reps is doing your body a disservice. One study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research compared a partial range of motion group with a full range of motion group. The full range of motion group increased their bicep strength by 25.7%, while the partial range of motion group increased by only 16%. Not only that, but the full range of motion group experienced significantly greater muscle gains. To put it simply, research shows that a full range of motion is significantly better than a partial range of motion for both muscle and strength. Mistake number 6. Not tracking your workouts. The principle of progressive overload states that you must increase the demands on your body over time. If you don't, your body will just adapt and have no reason to get bigger and stronger. This is why I strongly suggest keeping track of the sets, reps, and weight for every exercise in every workout to ensure you're actually improving. At the very least, it eliminates guesswork so you know what exact targets to surpass. Mistake number 7. Too much volume. There comes a point at which doing more volume isn't necessarily better. What I mean is that doing more sets and more exercises won't always mean better results. The truth is, if you're actually training hard, you probably won't need that much volume. A German volume training study from 2018 compared lifters doing 5 sets of 10 or 10 sets of 10 for the primary exercises in each workout. They concluded that 10 sets compared to 5 sets per exercise over 12 weeks is no more effective for increasing muscle strength and hypertrophy. This isn't to say that you must do 5 sets instead of 10, but rather that there is a limit to the amount of volume we should be doing in order to maximize muscle growth. This is why I recommend hitting each muscle with 10 to 20 total sets per week until you get a better understanding of how much volume you as an individual actually needs. Mistake number 8. Not deloading. There's something called the fitness fatigue model. It states that as you train, your fitness will go up, but over time, you won't be able to tell because your fatigue builds up as you continue training. That fatigue masks your fitness. In other words, although you're making progress, your performance will suffer because of a buildup of fatigue. That's why I recommend deloading every 4 to 12 weeks. A deload week consists of doing the same program but with less weight or significantly less volume. This will reduce buildup fatigue, help you recover, and resensitize your body to training. If you're planning on deloading, there are two strategies I recommend. First, you could perform the same number of sets and reps per exercise, but using half the weight you're accustomed to lifting. For example, if last week you bench pressed 250 pounds for 4 sets of 10, this week you'd perform the same 4 sets of 10 but using 125 pounds. Or you could lift the same 250 pounds but reduce the number of sets and reps by 50%. For example, rather than doing 4 sets of 10, you may just do 2 sets of 5 with the same weight. Yes, deload week is going to be easier and typically not very enjoyable, but this active recovery week will help you bounce back stronger and ready to get the best possible results in the next training block. Mistake number 9, program hopping. One study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise showed that when you start a program, you'll make quick results. Unfortunately, those results are due to neuroadaptations, not muscle growth. It actually takes 8 weeks for neuroadaptations to take place before the muscles take over. If you look at graphs like this one, you can see that you'll make strength gains during the first 8 to 20 weeks of a program, but very little muscle growth occurs during that time. Practically speaking, strength is a skill. If you want a big chest, it's a good idea to build a stronger bench press. But if you keep switching things up, you'll never build momentum with the exercise. So stop going from program to program, hoping that the next one will produce the results you're looking for. In general, you only want to make changes when you're truly plateaued, injured, or bored out of your mind. In terms of exercise selection, I recommend you keep compound lifts the same for at least 12 weeks, while the smaller isolation exercises can be swapped a bit more frequently to help keep things fresh. Mistake number 10, inconsistency. In his legendary Muscle and Strength Pyramid books, Eric Helms says that adhering to your program is the foundation. You could have the most glorious training program with the perfect diet, but if you don't follow the plan day in and day out, you won't get the results you want. That's why it's important to have a plan that fits your lifestyle and that you enjoy. If your program requires 4 days of training, but your life only allows for 3, chances are the lack of adherence will keep you from maximizing your results with that program. And if you're following a proven full body workout that you hate, you may be better off following a less effective workout that you actually enjoy. So there you have it, the 10 biggest training mistakes that are killing your gains. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll truly help out the channel. Are you looking for a complete, done-for-you training and nutrition guide guaranteed to add slabs of muscle to your frame in the next 90 days? Claim your free copy of my book, Bulk Up Fast. The book has already been paid for. All you have to do is cover the small shipping fee. Just click the link in the description, tell me where to ship it, and I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.